Gotin Cola.
Now that Game of Thrones is over, I'm going to be ranking all of the seasons of Game of Thrones as well as sharing my personal top 10 favorite episodes of Game of Thrones. I'm not going to go too in depth into each season or episode on whether like what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. I'm just going to be sharing general thoughts about each season and episode. So if you wanted an in-depth analysis of the show, I'm sorry you won't get that here. This is just going to be me listing off my favorite episodes and seasons in order from worst to best. But anyway, let's just get right into it. Season 5 is a bit of a mixed bag for me. I really liked the stuff involving Jon Snow, especially with Hardhome. That was really awesome. But I also really didn't like the stuff involving Daenerys, Tyrion, Arya. Basically, all their storylines were really lacking to me. The Jon Snow stuff and the stuff that happens involving the wildlings and the White Walkers definitely saves this season for me and gives me an overall positive impression. But most of the stuff in this season was just underwhelming to me. The most recent season of Game of Thrones is my second least favorite season overall. I do have a positive feeling about this show, about this season, because more of the stuff that I wanted to happen did happen. However, the process of getting there was just so rushed, and there were some decisions like Bran becoming ruler of the six kingdoms, sorry, that just left me cold. But overall, I do have a positive feeling when it comes to season 8. I actually really like season 7 of Game of Thrones. A lot of the things I wanted to happen did happen, such as Littlefinger dying. However, just like with season 8, this season 7 was just too rushed. It was too short. It should have been 10 episodes. That would having more episodes for both of the final seasons definitely would have improved the quality of the show. But I still really enjoy season 7 a lot. Season 2 is really good. This is definitely one of the better seasons of not just Game of Thrones, but of television in general. The stuff involving Tyrion and Davos on Blackwater, and the stuff with Daenerys I really liked too. It's not perfect, there are a few slow moments, and some of the performances, particularly from Maisie Williams and Sophie Turner, aren't that great, although I don't really blame them that much because they were still kids and they were still, fleshing out their acting chops. But overall, season 2, pretty good. Season 1 of Game of Thrones is definitely one of the more surprising seasons. When the show first started out and Sean Bean, Ned Stark, was the main character, when that first episode aired, I don't think anyone was expecting him to die by the end of the first season. I think that many people, including myself when I first started watching the show, were expecting him to live until the end because he's the main character, right? Nope, he dies. Season 3 of Game of Thrones is another season that, of course, is surprising. The Red Wedding is definitely one of the most shocking things and disturbing things I've seen. Also, I really like the stuff involving Jon Snow and Ygritte. I believe Ygritte is introduced in this season. I honestly don't really remember what was going on with Daenerys, but the stuff with the Red Wedding and with Jon Snow, I really like that a lot. I see quite a few people online don't really like season 6, but personally, I love this season. My favorite episode from the show ever, spoiler alert, is Battle of the Bastards. It's the best battle, and in my opinion, the best episode. There are a lot of things in the show that I wanted to happen that did happen, and yeah, I guess I understand why many people don't like this season because compared to my favorite season, it's not as good. But personally, I still love season 6. My favorite season of Game of Thrones overall is season 4. This season is perfect. There is literally nothing wrong, in my opinion, with this season. The stuff involving Tyrion on trial, Jon Snow, and the wildlings, Arya and Clegane and Brienne of Tarth. Everything in this season is just amazing. I love this season. Tyrion's speech when he's on trial, Shay, I believe that's her name, Shay's betrayal, the Mountain and the Viper. Just there are so many things about this season that's just amazing. I love season 4 of Game of Thrones, and I love this show overall. This is definitely one of the most iconic episodes, not just in Game of Thrones, but in television ever. I don't think when season 1 the show first started, no one was expecting Ned Stark, the main character, to die, but then he dies in this episode. This episode was really good, and one little moment that I really like is the fact that Arya, who's present at Ned Stark's beheading, she basically turns away, she can't look, and Sophie Turner's Sansa's reaction. I really like this episode a lot. It's my 10th favorite episode in the show overall. I really did not like the character of Littlefinger. I could not sympathize with him at all. So when he died in this episode, I was really satisfied. A lot of things in this episode was really satisfying to me. The only thing that I really didn't like is that Jon and Daenerys hook up. I really did not like that creative decision at all. But besides that, this episode is really, really good. The Battle of Blackwater is awesome. The introduction of Wildfire is just amazing. One thing about the show that I do think that they should have done better overall is that they should have used Wildfire more often. But when they did use it, it was still really cool, and I really like this episode a lot. One of the best episodes of the series overall is from my least favorite season of the show overall. This battle was really, really good. It basically did a really good job of showing just how much of a threat these winter zombies basically can be. This battle was really cool. The effects are, as usual, amazing. And yeah, just this episode is just really good. Hodor was a character that I really liked. He was a character that I got really attached to. So when he died, that really broke my heart a lot, and just how he died was really powerful. With Bran seeing the vision of basically young Hodor and basically how he got to become Hodor and Hodor holding the door. That was just really intense and sad. And but this episode is just again, I feel like I'm on repeat here, but it's really good. The Red Wedding is literally one of the most intense and disturbing things I've seen in a TV show ever. It was really surprising. I genuinely wasn't expecting this betrayal, although I guess I should have seen it coming because Walder Frey is just a terrible person in general. This is the plot twist that all of us should have seen coming, but none of us did. But yeah, the Reigns of Castamere is just really, really good. I can't believe I keep saying that word good. Cersei's revenge against the church and the use of wildfire was really cool. The Winds of Winter is a really, really good episode. I really like basically everything that happens in this episode. Davos confronting Melisandre, Jon confronting Sansa, Littlefinger trying to hit on and kiss Sansa and her refusal, Arya killing Walder Frey. This episode was really good, and I really need to stop using that word. The Children is absolutely fantastic. I really liked the fight between Brienne of Tarth and Clegane. I thought that Tyrion killing his father was really emotionally powerful. Jamie's role in this season, basically secretly helping Tyrion, I thought that that was really cool. Basically, everything in this episode was done really well, and this episode is one of the most emotional to watch for me, and is fantastic. Tyrion's speech in front of on trial in front of everyone, almost pretty much everyone at King's Landing after Shay's betrayal is one of the most chilling things that I've ever seen, one of the most awesome things I've ever seen, and is probably the best performance I've seen from Peter Dinklage. He really kills it. I mean, not literally until later, but he basically kills it in this episode. And when he says I want trial by combat, and when the episode ends with him and his father just looking at each other with just hate and hatred in both of their eyes, I got chills down my spine. I thought that that was really, really well done. Battle of the Bastards is my favorite episode of Game of Thrones ever. I really liked how Daenerys, with her dragons, basically burns down all those the slavers and those bad people, and then, well, when Davos finds out that the little girl was burned, and he realizes what Melisandre has done, I thought that that was really powerful. And this battle in general was just so epic and so intense and violent, and it ending with Ramsay Bolton being eaten by his own dogs. That was so disturbing, but also so satisfying. This episode is just amazing, and I really have to applaud the crew for just what the cast and crew for what they were able to pull off. This must have been really difficult to do. And yeah, just this episode and the series in general is amazing and one of my favorite shows ever.